It's week 9 of the college football season, and even though we're slowly starting to approach the end of the college football regular season, we still got a lot of games to go through and a lot of action. This week is not as juicy as the last few weeks. We're coming off a run, I want to say a 4-week run. That was just unbelievable. This week's not as great, but nevertheless, we still have some good games. Let's talk about it because the king of college football, Mr. College Football himself, has some cooking to do. We start things off with Northwestern versus Nebraska. I don't really know why I'm predicting this one, but it's kind of fun. Fuck it, why not? I like Northwestern. I think Northwestern is good enough to keep within Nebraska. It's one of those situations where Northwestern, in my opinion, is very underrated, while Nebraska is very overrated. Nevertheless, Nebraska at home is a tough game. Originally, I was thinking about taking this as an official play, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just make a prediction for video's sake, but no official play. Nebraska is going to win this game, but Northwestern will cover the spread. I bet on Northwestern one time this year, and it was against Oregon, and they covered the spread for me on that one. So I got love for Northwestern. I should have bet them last week too, but whatever, I'm an idiot. Northwestern to cover, Nebraska to win. Not sure why I'm starting out for this game, but it is what it is. Next we go to Kansas State versus Kansas. I'm not sure why, but the fucking website I use doesn't show it normally. It's like whatever. It's fucked up in the way I see it. So I got to go into the thing. All right. It's a 3.5 point spread. Kansas at home is favored by 3.5 points. This is the Kansas rivalry. I'm not sure what its official name is. I know like every rivalry in college football has like a nickname. I don't know what this one is. I'm not as big of a college football guru. I haven't been watching for that long to know all the nicknames. But let's call it the Kansas rivalry. Whoever wins controls Kansas. Tough game to predict. Kansas at 3.5 almost feels like a trap. But at the same time, I can see a world where, it moves back down to 3. It stays in that 3 to 2.5 range. It's tough though. Kansas State has just been so bad. For this season, they can't do nothing. However, if I'm not mistaken, Kansas more likely than not does not win these games. Kansas is not my bad. Kansas is not a football school. Kansas is a basketball school. So if I had to guess, Kansas State is probably whooping Kansas' ass every fucking year. I got to go with Kansas here. I got to go with Kansas. I think Kansas wins this. I think Kansas covers. Just because Kansas State sucks. The spread I'm looking at is fucked up too. This fucking website's bullshit. Whatever. Kansas is going to win this one, in my humble opinion, and they're going to cover this one. It's a tough game to predict because Kansas State on paper is better, but Kansas, they play gritty, they play tough, they get shit done. Probably going to be a high-scoring game, and will Kansas State be able to keep up with that level? Kansas, they can. Kansas State, I don't know. They've been up and down this whole season, and I'm not going to bet on them here. Too risky. I don't want it. I'll say Kansas wins, Kansas covers. If Kansas was a smaller favorite, I would have taken Kansas. But at 3.5, I can't do it. So, Kansas wins, Kansas covers. No bet for me on that one. Next game. Next we have South Florida versus Memphis. And who would have ever thought I'd be talking about a game like this? This game was supposed to be so much more hype because Memphis was supposed to be undefeated coming into this game, as is South Florida. Unfortunately, Memphis shit their pants, choked, and now lost. They have a loss last week. It was to UAB. Horrible loss. So this kind of takes the momentum away from this matchup. This is a matchup I think a lot of people were looking forward to. There was even consideration that this could be the college game day, game of the week, whatever you want to call it. But obviously, with the Memphis loss, it takes away all the hype. The reason Memphis lost is because they were looking ahead. They overlooked UAB and were looking ahead to this game. It's a classic case in college football. It's always like this. For that reason, I got Memphis plus 6.5, official play. I really like it. Memphis was looking ahead last week to this game. They're going to be ready for this game. This is the game that they are preparing for. And that's why they are not only going to cover this spread, but they are going to win this game straight up. They're going to win it straight up. Now, I'm not ballsy enough to take it straight up, but fuck it, bro. 6.5 at home? I'm taking that all day. Look, I bet against South Florida before. Twice, actually. I got burnt. The last time I did it, it was versus North Texas. I look like an idiot, even though North Texas was sharp. But guess what? This time it's really sharp because the line is overinflated for South Florida because of what happened last week. This game would have been completely different ballpark. Look at the opening line. Memphis was the favorite. Memphis was a pretty decent sized favorite. And it would have made sense because they're at home versus a team that's very good, but they're on the same level. Now they lose to UAB and everybody floods South Florida, betting on South Florida. I'm not buying the South Florida hype yet. I mean, maybe they'll make me regret it next week, but we'll see. Memphis will cover this spread, plus 6.5, official play. I like Memphis here a lot. They looked ahead to this game. They're going to be ready for this game. They're going to win this game, and they're easily going to cover. Memphis, plus 6.5, official play. Lock it in. Next game. Next we have Mississippi versus Oklahoma, and this game disgusts me. This is disgusting. I'm sick to my motherfucking stomach just looking at this shit. Oklahoma is a good team. They are. But Mateer is not fully healthy. Last week's win versus the Cox was not convincing. It was good, but they're not all that. South Carolina. They lost the week prior to Texas, got kind of worked like a dogs, and now they're 5.5 point favorites versus Mississippi. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Mississippi should have not only covered last week, but won. That was a heartbreaker for your boy. You guys already know that. I crashed out in the recap video. I had Mississippi to win that game and cover the spread. The fact that they did not even cover is disgusting. Georgia got away with a bunch of bullshit. It is what it is. Now they're 5.5 point underdogs. On the road, I get it, they're on the road, but 5.5 point underdogs makes no sense to me. No sense whatsoever. How? How is this possible? Had Mississippi won that game versus Georgia, they'd be probably favorites in this one, on the road. Now they're 5.5 point underdogs. I'm not buying the Oklahoma hype. Oklahoma's good, but Mateer is still banged up. Just because this Oklahoma defense is very, very strong, and especially the D-line, doesn't mean shit. I think Mississippi is by far the best team they're going up against. Texas sucks. Michigan early in the year is not that good. Who did they play last week? South Carolina, okay. Who? Auburn? Not good. This is the toughest test Oklahoma will have. I'm rolling with Mississippi. Plus 5.5, official play. I'm betting this shit. You're giving me 5.5 points for Mississippi. I'm taking this all day long. All day long. This is an overreaction. This is another overreaction because of how, I don't want to say how bad Mississippi lost last week, but the way Mississippi lost last week. I'm taking Mississippi all day. Mississippi is winning this game. They're winning this game. And maybe all that chatter about Lane Kiffin going to Florida is going to be, oh shit, the fucking camera. Hold on. I fixed it. Hopefully it wasn't out for too long. But all that chatter about Lane Kiffin going to Florida might affect Mississippi, but I doubt it. That's for the end of the season type of shit where Lane Kiffin's going to leave. For now, Lane Kiffin knows he's still in the playoff window. They got to win. That loss to Georgia was tough, but they still can win out and make the playoffs for sure. For sure. And this is a game that's winnable. I don't think Mateer is fully healthy just yet, and they can overcome the, Oklahoma's defense. Mississippi, plus 5.5, and the money line. Now, I'm taking the plus 5.5 as the official play. I'm not betting the money line, but I do think Mississippi does win this game. I just am more comfortable, getting 5 points on the road. You never know with Mississippi. They could fall apart again. So, Mississippi plus 5.5 official play, and they win the game. Next game. Next we have Virginia versus UNC. This would be an amazing basketball matchup, but now we're talking about football. You guys already know the drill, Operation Fade Belichick. However, Operation Fade Belichick will not be in full effect this week. I am actually very scared of this game. UNC may have turned a corner last week, and they should have won against Cal. Not only that, but their defense played very, very well on the road, which scares the hell out of me. Now they're at home, and I know Virginia is very good. And there is the slight chance that Virginia can just absolutely run up the score here. They can. But laying 10.5 points on the road, Virginia, it's tough. I know UNC sucks, Operation Fade Belichick, all that. I can't do it, though. I can't. I'm not going to have an official play for this game. I know that might come as a surprise for some of you, but I can't do it. I'll take Virginia to win, Virginia to cover, but I'm going to be honest, I'm staying away from this game. I'm staying far, far away from this game. It kind of scares me. I can see North Carolina covering. I can see North Carolina keeping this super close and really putting the work on Virginia. I wanted Operation Fade Belichick, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to compose myself. I'm going to be calm. Virginia wins, Virginia covers, but I'm not betting it. I have to break my own rule. I know. Next game, UCLA versus Indiana. I'll talk about this one quick. This is a game that's more hyped up on paper than it is in reality. Indiana are huge favorites, 24.5. I get why. I mean, UCLA has looked very, very good in these last few weeks. They turned a corner, especially that Penn State win was the real statement win. I think that helped them out. But still, it's Indiana. Indiana's just way too good. And they're treating this game not like a shitty mid UCLA team, but Kurt Cigarette was saying like, this is a 3-0 UCLA team, not a whatever it is, 3-4 UCLA team. So, I think Indiana takes it seriously and they run up the score. Give me Indiana to win, Indiana to cover, plus it's a 12 o'clock game, UCLA going to Indiana at 12 o'clock. It's going to be tough. Indiana to win, Indiana to cover. No bet for me on this one. I'm not feeling as comfortable betting on a huge spread on Indiana as I should be, in my opinion. But whatever. You know, Indiana might choke in the end and UCLA covers backdoor. So that's my fear. Indiana to win, Indiana to cover. Might be an interesting game. Might be. You never know. Next game, we have Auburn versus Arkansas. A little SEC matchup. Guys. Two teams here that are kicking my ass here. Auburn, I stopped betting on Auburn, and thank God I did because last week would have burnt me again. And I stopped betting on Arkansas. But two different things have happened, right? I stopped betting on Auburn, and Auburn continues to not cover and not do their thing. Arkansas has covered nonstop. Tennessee, they covered. The Texas A&M game last week, they covered, even though it was backdoor. Now, they're favorites at home. Slight favorites, but still favorites at home. I do think Auburn is better. I do. But offensively, Auburn struggles. And offensively, Arkansas is a god. Arkansas is unbelievable offensively. On the flip side, Auburn's offense should be a lot better because they're playing this Arkansas defense, which is just absolutely atrocious. That Arkansas defense is disgustingly bad. I got to do it, guys. I know what's going to end up happening, and I know I'm going to come here or whatever, and I'm going to post a reaction video bitching and moaning and complaining because I did this, but I have to. Arkansas, -2.5, official play. I love Arkansas here. I've been loving Arkansas every fucking week, and I just composed myself, and I didn't take them, and I should have taken them because they covered the spread. Now they're favorites, and it might be a mistake to take them as a favorite, but it's just Auburn. They continue to struggle. They continue to fall short. And I'm worried about the Auburn's offense. Auburn's offense may not be able to keep pace with Arkansas's offense. Arkansas's offense is really good. You saw Texas A&M has a very good defense. And Arkansas went band for band with them. They did. And remember, Texas A&M beat Auburn in a low-scoring, sloppy game. I got to go Arkansas here. I got to go Arkansas. I think Arkansas just offensively is more talented. They'll be able to run up the score in a way that Auburn won't be able to reach. Now, if this turns into a low-scoring defensive game, Auburn's obviously going to win. But even then, Arkansas, you know for a fact, will put points on the board. And Auburn, I just feel like at times, like they always do, the offense will stall out and they'll struggle. For that reason, I got Arkansas -2.5 official play. I really like Arkansas here. I think they get the job done. I think they do. I might regret it. I might. But fuck it. It is what it is. Next game. Next we have Missouri versus Vanderbilt. Probably my favorite game of the week. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But if not my favorite, one of my favorites. For sure. I still firmly believe, Missouri's overrated. They are. Missouri is decent. but they're not all that. While you have Vanderbilt, that's just unbelievable. This Vandy team looks unreal. They're coming off a huge win versus LSU. Their only loss this season was against Alabama, which, they did rightfully lose, but they were in it for a long time. The final score doesn't say the full narrative of the game because they were covering for the majority of the game. I think Vanderbilt whoops Missouri's ass. And that's why I'm taking Vandy -2.5. Official play. I love Vandy in this position. At home, riding hot. This is a borderline playoff team, and they know games like these are must-wins to get into the playoff because they're going to have tougher matchups, on the road especially. This is at home against a Missouri team. It's not great. They struggled versus Auburn last week. It took them like 3 overtimes to beat them. Vanderbilt is just too good. They're decent. Pavia is a dog. Vandy's just something else this season. They've been something else last season too. But this year, they're really a legit playoff team. Vandy wins. Vandy covers. I'm taking the Vandy cover as an official play. I love it. I really do. I don't see how Missouri wins this one. Maybe they run the ball down Vanderbilt's throat. Maybe. But even then, I think Pavia will be able to take Vandy down the field whenever they need to. You look at the Missouri defense, right? Who would you say has a better defense, Missouri or LSU? I would say LSU. And you saw, Vanderbilt didn't dominate that game, but they were in control of that game for its majority. And LSU is good, and Nussmeier played well too. Missouri, I think, has a weaker defense and offense that's on the same level, maybe weaker at times. Vanderbilt's going to win this one again. I say again, not like this specific matchup, but I'm saying after beating LSU last week. Gotta go with Vanderbilt. Vandy, -2.5, official play. I love this game. One of my favorites of the week. Next game. Next we have BYU versus Iowa State. Tough matchup to predict, not going to lie. Iowa State coming off, 2 losses in a row? They're on a bit of a losing streak or have definitely started to fade as the season has progressed. Coming off, and now they're playing BYU, who's coming off a massive win versus Utah in the Holy War. BYU undefeated in the Big 12. I think undefeated in general, by the way. But I just don't know if BYU's that good. I don't know. I said this last week and it come back to bit me in the ass. But is BYU that good? Honestly, you guys tell me. Is it? I don't think so. And I think Iowa State, they understand how important this game truly is. They really do. They have to win this one if they want any chance of a playoff spot or to compete in the Big 12 whatsoever, because the Big 12 is a mess right now. But Iowa State can make it even more dirty by beating BYU, because BYU doesn't have a Big 12 loss. Now will be a whole little cycle where BYU loses to Iowa State, but Iowa State beat, I forget who they beat, like Kansas State and shit like that. I got to go Iowa State here. I'll take, should I do it? You're seeing my reaction real time. I'll do it. Iowa State -2.5, official play. I don't know why I'm taking all these -2.5s at home. It is what it is. Iowa State -2.5 at home, official play. I think Iowa State wins this. I think Iowa State covers. I'm just not big on this BYU hype. I don't think BYU's all that. On the road versus a desperate Iowa State team. I like desperation. I do. Iowa State knows they need to win this game to keep their chances of anything alive. And BYU, pulling further away would be worse, not only for all the Big 12 teams, but specifically for Iowa State, who would have a loss. So, Iowa State to win, Iowa State to cover, official play, -2.5, Iowa State. Rocco Becht, please clutch up for me. Don't fail me now, because I kind of been fading Iowa State a lot this year, funny enough. So, now I'm riding with them. BYU, I keep fading BYU. I hope it's not going to kill me. But whatever. Iowa State to cover, Iowa State to win, official play. Next game, Alabama versus South Carolina. Yeah. This was supposed to be a much better game on paper, but unfortunately it's not. South Carolina has looked awful. I'm not going to lie, awful last week and the week prior. And I've bet on South Carolina last week and the week prior. Alabama, on the other hand, has just been through the gauntlet. And this is part of the gauntlet. And they just keep passing every single test. After that loss to Florida State, they just went into a different mode, and now they beat everybody. They from Georgia to Missouri, Tennessee, Vandy, they just beat everybody. Bama is doing it every single week. So on one hand, I want to take Bama. On the other hand, I want to take South Carolina. I said prior to the video starting, I'm not taking South Carolina. I'm not. I can't. They've costed me 2 weeks in a row, and they played easier levels of competition. I think Oklahoma and LSU are worse than Alabama. And South Carolina not only got smoked in both those games, but they did not cover. Right? They were close to covering versus LSU and never even in the ballpark of covering against Oklahoma. The reality is Lenore Sellers is running for his life. The offensive line sucks, and that's the reason why the South Carolina offense isn't as good as it should be. Alabama has a great defense. We all know Alabama has a great defense. I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama puts absolute belt to ass on South Carolina. No official play for me on this one. I'm going to take Alabama to win, Alabama to cover on the road. I know it's just too risky with the South Carolina team. I can't bet on them. I can't. It's way too risky. And watch, this is going to be the game they cover. I just know it. But Bama to win, Bama to cover, it makes the most sense. Bama's just unbelievable. And South Carolina, you can see their struggles in real time. You don't need a scientist to explain to you why South Carolina has been awful. You can see it clearly. Bama wins, Bama covers. No bet for me on this one, even though I kind of want to bet South Carolina. But I'm not going to do it. Next game, Illinois versus Washington. This is an interesting one. Illinois on the road at Washington. Tough environment. Definitely a very difficult environment for Illinois to play. I question how good Illinois is on the road. Sometimes they burn me on the road. Other times they, clutched up for me. But that was at home, right? Illinois at home is a different beast from Illinois on the road, which I know college, you could say that for a lot of teams, but, Washington being 3.5-point favorites is an interesting one. I see why, but they're coming off a pretty bad loss to Michigan. So that could have been deflated a bit. I guess people are saying Illinois is not that good. And Washington at home, 3.5, maybe the home field advantage is giving them that humongous boost. But all in all, I think this is a big bounce back spot for Washington at home. It's a must win for sure. Plus, versus Illinois, who's not great, I don't think Illinois is that big of a dog. Dog. I mean, like not as an underdog, like as a dog. In general on the road. So give me Washington -3.5 official play. I really like Washington here. I really do. 3.5 is a concerning number to lay because you guys know obviously they're going to win by a fucking field goal and they're not going to cover. But I think Washington could really win this game with authority by like 10 points, 14 points. I really believe it. At home, the Washington offense is going to play well. I'm not blown away by this Illinois defense. They're decent, but not great. So I got Washington to win. I got Washington to cover. Official play for the cover. It's a tough game to predict, but I'm confident enough that Washington will play very, very strong football and not make the same mistakes they made last week versus Michigan. That's why I'm taking Washington -3.5 official play. Next game we have Baylor versus Cincinnati. It feels like we're talking about Baylor every goddamn week. Interesting game here because if Baylor wins this one, it would also just throw the Big 12 into disarray. I think Cincinnati, the only other team aside from BYU, to be undefeated in the Big 12. The 3.5-point favorites versus a Baylor team that's quite interesting. Baylor plays just the hardest schedule ever. Every week it feels like we're talking about Baylor because they're playing good teams. This is another good team. Cincinnati at home, 3.5-point favorites. It's a weird game. But something is telling me chaos in the Big 12 is destined to happen. And that's why I got Baylor. I'm going to take Baylor to cover. I'm going to take Baylor to win. Not going to bet it. I'm not nearly as confident in this Baylor team as I should be, especially on the road. But this spread is low in my opinion and could be a lot higher. For that reason, I think some sus shit is going to go on. And Baylor, with their high-powered offense, is going to be able to outlast Cincinnati, who has a pretty good offense as well. So, Baylor to cover, Baylor to win. Sus game, not going to touch it. But I can see Baylor clutching up, getting the job done, and just the Big 12 is going to be a mess. I'm telling you guys, the Big 12 is going to be a mess. That's my logic behind this pick. Next game. Next we have Texas versus Mississippi State. Oh my God, this is the freest. This is the freest spread of the week. I did it last week. I'm going to do it again. You guys already know who I'm going to pick here. Texas is so overrated. I don't know why Vegas is just completely overrating Texas every goddamn week. Every goddamn week. They were huge favorites versus Kentucky last week, and they barely squeaked away with a win. And they were like, what? I had them last week. Kentucky. Like 13.5, 12.5 point underdogs. Barely. Texas won that game. Now you have Mississippi State, who in my opinion is better than Kentucky. You've seen Mississippi State put the work on decent SEC teams. They almost beat Florida last week. And that was like lucky they lost because big man interception late in the game. Lost by what? 2 points? On the road, I think, as well. On the road. And they put up a real hard-fought battle versus Tennessee. And they beat Arizona State early in the year. Now they're playing Texas at home. Texas sucks. Arch Manning sucks. The only good thing about this Texas team is their defense. Aside from that, they can't do nothing. Arch Manning is so bad, he cannot throw the ball. This man is missing wide open receivers. I mean like wide open receivers. Because he's missing so many receivers, they can't run the ball efficiently. Texas offense sucks. Mississippi State is decent. Who do you think I'm taking in this game? I'm taking Mississippi State. Mississippi State plus 7.5. Official play. I love this bet. Probably my favorite of the week. Oh my God. Mississippi State plus 7.5. Are you kidding me? This is too easy. It's too easy. Not only is Mississippi State going to cover the spread in this game, they're going to win this game. They are going to win this game. Now, not confident enough to take them on the money line, but sure as hell confident enough to take them on the spread. The 7.5 is so fucking easy. If Texas wins this one, it's going to be either by 7 or by 3. No question about it, in an overtime game. But I genuinely believe Mississippi State is good enough to win this. At home. You saw how bad Texas struggled last week versus Kentucky. Texas lost to Florida on the road. Texas is not a good team, especially on the road. Their only signature win this season thus far was against Oklahoma at home. And Oklahoma was banged up. Mateer was just coming back from the hand injury. A healthy Mateer, this game would have gone a lot different. Texas sucks, guys. They really do. That's why I'm taking Mississippi State to win this game and cover the spread. The spread is an official play. I fucking love this one. I think Mississippi State destroys Texas. I really do. I really do. Horns down, baby. Horns down. I might regret that, but Mississippi State to cover, I love. Official play. Next game. Next we have night game, Texas A&M versus LSU. This is a trap, in my humble opinion. Everybody knows how good A&M is, and you've seen it this whole season. They've beaten everybody, and they passed every test they had with pretty flying colors. They beat Arkansas last week. They beat Notre Dame. When was it? Like week 2? They beat the shit out of Notre Dame. They beat Arkansas, beat Notre Dame. Who else they beat? They beat Auburn. They beat a lot of good teams. They beat a lot of good teams. I might be missing somebody, but Texas A&M has beaten a lot of good teams. This is, I would say, the hardest test for Texas A&M. LSU has been through a gauntlet. They've played very good teams from who they play. Started the season with Clemson, which not that good of a win. Vandy lost, but still good team. And they played somebody else they lost to. Mississippi. They played Mississippi. And that was a tough game. They lost. LSU probably is not going to make the playoffs, but they could make a run. It's a tough schedule, but they could make a run. And it would have to start here. Texas A&M going into Death Valley at night. I mean, it's setting up to be one of those games. It is. LSU's defense is very good. LSU's defense is not the problem. The offense is the problem. Nussmeier has completely underperformed. Last week, Nussmeier looked pretty good. And I think this week is the week LSU turns the page. Give me LSU on the money line and the spread. And not only am I taking LSU like that, LSU plus 3. I don't know if you'll be able to get a plus 3 when the game kicks off, but right here, I'm looking at the spread right now. It's plus 3. I'm taking LSU plus 3 as an official play. You're giving me 3 points at home, night game, LSU. A&M is good. A&M is good. But I don't think they're that good. And I think LSU, again, playing with desperation. This is what I love. A team that's desperate. They're extremely desperate. They already have 2 SEC losses. If they want to make a run, it's now or never. Brian Kelly's ass is on the line. He's going to get fired, most likely. But if they run the table, maybe they won't. LSU plus 3 and the money line. Plus 3 is an official play. I think LSU wins this one straight up. This is the LSU signature moment they've been waiting for. Texas A&M's got to lose one eventually, and it's going to be this one. Low spread as well. They kind of are baiting you to take Texas A&M. 2.5. They're the much better team. LSU has struggled a lot this year. So that's why I'm taking LSU plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. Official play. LSU's winning this game straight up. If this spread was 2.5 and I was recording the video, I would take LSU straight up as the official play. But I can get a 3, and even though it's a little bit juiced up with the odds, I'll take the 3 because if they kick a field goal, Texas A&M does to win the game and walk it off, I'll be okay with a push there. So LSU plus 3 official play, but LSU's winning this game straight up. I guarantee it. Next game. Next we have Tennessee versus Kentucky. I was debating on taking this game as an official play. I really was. But I can't. Oh, fuck the camera. No. Hold on. I can't do it. I can't do it with this Tennessee team. I'm going to take Kentucky to cover and Tennessee to win. No official play for me on this one. I'm scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared. But Kentucky played well for me last week. The problem is that their offense did not play well. And I could see a world where Kentucky struggles really badly versus a Tennessee team that's mad, coming off a tough loss to Alabama, and Tennessee might just run up the score. That's my concern. Because Kentucky didn't blow me away last week. It was more so how bad Texas was that blew me away. And that's why Kentucky covered the spread. Tennessee's a different beast. They're much better than Texas. I think Tennessee could cover this spread. But for the love of Kentucky and what they did for me last week, I'll take Kentucky to cover, Tennessee to win. Absolutely no bet for me on this one. But I can see Tennessee running up the score. Kentucky wins, Tennessee covers, no bet. Next game we have Houston versus Arizona State. This one I'm going to talk about real quick. I don't care about this one at all. Arizona State to win, Arizona State to cover. Simply put, they are significantly better than Houston. Houston, in my opinion, is very overrated. And I bet on Houston last week, and they did cash for me. They're not good. Arizona State is the upper echelon of the Big 12. Houston is not. They're not. Even though the record might indicate that they are. I think Arizona State will dominate this game. 7-point spread at home. Dillingham's a monster. Levitt should be slinging it, doing his thing. Arizona State beat Texas Tech last week, coming off a huge win. They're going to ride the high. They're going to ride that big momentum. And they're going to slap the shit out of Houston. Arizona State to win. Arizona State to cover. No bet for me on this one. Next game, to wrap things up, I'll just talk about this one because it's technically the last game in the whole slate. Colorado versus Utah. Obviously, you guys know I rode with Utah heavy this season. I still have them to win the Big 12. That hasn't changed. It's looking unlikely now. That game versus BYU should have been the turning point, but now it's looking really unlikely. They're going to have to pray like BYU loses, Texas Tech loses, all that shit has to fall their way. Every good Big 12 team has to lose, and Utah has to win. They're idiots, but luckily they're playing Colorado. Humongous spread. And for that reason, I'm taking Utah to win, Utah to cover. I'm not betting it, that's for sure. But maybe I'll throw Utah and some other team into a moneyline parlay so I can have some action on this game, some late night action. That's how I like it. So I'll take Utah to win, Utah to cover, to officially wrap up my predictions for this week's college football slate. Week 9, I can't believe we're already at week 9 of the college football season. It's unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts down below on who I got this week. Let me know your picks down below. Stay tuned for more content coming soon.